Hi, thank you for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to be speaking to a counsellor. I'm really excited. And the topic that we'll be discussing today is stress. I know Marian works as a counsellor. She specializes in stress, relationships, and I'm really keen because I know people just get stressed at any point of their lives. And I think it's quite good for us to get some tips in terms of how to handle stress. That's why I've brought her here. So hopefully we can learn a few things on how to handle stress. I'm really looking forward to it. Marian has over 14 years experience as a counsellor, 6 years as a life coach. And I'm excited to be speaking to her. So without wasting any time, let's get right into the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you. Right, I've got Marian with me. Thank you so much for coming and thank you for joining me. Your other video had loads and loads of interest, so I thought I might bring you back again and just ask you a few things about what you actually do as a counsellor.
Sure.
Yes, what I'm interested to know is what are the 3 sort of top reasons why people get stressed from your end and the job that you actually do?
Yeah, so stress is, we have everyday stress, which everyone's aware of, that you can't do anything about. But I'd say, as working as a counsellor, I'd say my top 3. So the first one is relationships, so relationship stress. So that can either be someone that is currently in a relationship and it's just not working and there's stresses through that, or it could be someone where they've had a breakup and they're feeling stressed because they're worried about whether they're going to meet someone else, or they're stressed about the person that they've lost. So relationships is the first one. Money is the second one. I'd say that that's probably the top one that affects majority of people, is stress around money. And that could either be a lack of money, but it could also be around, if you're in a house environment, how money is spent. So it could be within your relationship. So that comes into relationships again. So either not having lack of money, how money is spent, or just, mostly a lack of. And then the third one is work-related stress. So that is a massive thing, because I work on the helplines, and part of one of my roles is an employment assistance program where people can call in if they've got work stress. So that can be anything from stress around their colleagues or their manager. It could be stress around the responsibilities of the role. It could be stress around work-life balance. So they're the top 3 things I'd say that I have people coming to me about. And the key thing with stress is that people sometimes, if one thing is affecting them or causing stress, it can also seep into other areas of their life as well. So someone might be stressed at work, they'll bring that stress home. Someone might be stressed about having money, that can lead to depression. Someone might be stressed in their relationship, that might lead to cheating. It could also lead to them becoming depressed because of their relationship. So yeah, everything is sometimes linked, even though those are the top 3 things that people come from.
I'm so excited about this. I'm almost feeling like asking you, are there any solutions? What sort of solutions or tips do you share with people that are, that are going through stress because of relationship, money, and everything else that you talked about? Do you have any tips if anyone's listening that you find useful?
Sure. Yeah, so for me, one of the things that I always say to people is that you should always have like a plan of action, or some habits and routines that are in place in your life, so that when stressful events happen, you already have like an idea of how you can tackle it. So what sometimes people do is they go through life in a certain way without putting anything in place. Something happens and then they just become really stressed. Whereas if you have set routines and habits that you can follow, so there would be stress reducing habits. So maybe it's going to the gym every day. Maybe a stress reducing habit is making sure that whatever's on your mind, you write it down in a journal. So that's another good one. It might be stress reducing habit could be that you never go to bed on an argument. So you and your partner try to resolve things. It could be, if it's to do with money, you keep a budget, you set a budget and you stick to it, you check your bank accounts. There's so many people who are scared to open up letters I've worked with people over the years where we've literally had to go through a drawer of letters that they've just put in there because they know that their debts. We've gone through each letter one by one. I've helped them phone up their creditors. We've put a plan in place. Then they can breathe.
Yeah.
So it's, don't avoid things. Same as like for me, I get my little notifications from my bank every day for every transaction, but I check my bank account every single day. People are fearful of doing that because they say, well, what if I look and I haven't got the money in there? But if you don't look, the money's still not going to be in there. So, you know what I mean? At least if you look, you can then work on a plan.
Yeah.
And at least you know what you've been spending. So if stress is caused because it's a build-up of things, or it could be caused because something is out of your control. So that's the second tip, is focus on what is in your control rather than what's without, out of your control. The amount of people that are stressed or depressed or anxious because of things that they can't do anything about is probably more than people who are stressed because of things they can do something about. So if something is causing you stress, but there's no way you can change it, say to yourself, you know what, I'm stressed about this, but there's nothing I can do if my sister is behaving in this way. I'm stressed. There's nothing I can do if energy prices, the government has decided to put them up. So, because then once you say that, or you don't say there's nothing I can do, you can say, I have to accept this first of all. Then you look at what you can do. So if any time something's out of our control, there's always something that is within our control as well. So that's what I would say, those things. The other thing is learn about stress, learn about, there's books. There's a brilliant book, actually. It's called The 7-Day Stress Prescription by Dr. What's her name? Dr. Eliza, something like Eliza Epple, something like that. I've probably got her name wrong. But it's called The 7-Day Stress Prescription, so you can Google it. Find out things about stress. That book is brilliant because it will talk about what stress is. It will talk about how you can manage it. It will help people to create a stress plan. So first of all, research it, then understand your own stress levels. As a person, you know yourself more than you think. So if your stress levels are that when you're at work, this is your top level of how much work you can take before it becomes too much, recognize that first. And then take action. Say to yourself, after 10 cases, I'm not taking on any more cases at work. After 2 projects, I can only work on 2 at a time. Yeah. In my relationship, if this stresses me out, then this is what I can change. But if my partner is just someone that talks all the time and they don't listen, or if my partner is someone that does A, B, and C, you can't change them, but you might say how I respond to it. So that's another thing with stress. It's not always the thing that's causing you the stress. It's how you respond to it, how you manage it.
Okay, I've got a specific one. If you sort of touched on this before, if you've got a family member, maybe they're asking for money, they're expecting you to give them money, because they're probably less privileged than you are. They're expecting you to do a lot of things that you know that are not in your plans, and you're not really in a position to provide, that help or that assistance. How do you go about in terms of managing that stress and managing the relationship?
Yeah, that's a really tricky one because, like you said, Lisa, lots of people experience that. The key factor underneath that is that we all want to do our best for other people. So that's something which drives what we do. So when there's emotional pressure, emotional pressure is your parents in another country saying that they're struggling, or a family member who says that if you don't give me money, then I don't know where I'll go, or you owe me, or I've done this for you. So what you have to do is take the emotion out of it. Yes, it's your sister. Yes, it's your mum. Yes, but take the emotion out for a second, or put it aside and think to yourself, can I afford to do this first? Then also, if I do this, how am I going to feel afterwards? So what I say to people is, if you're doing something out of duty, but then afterwards you feel bad, or you feel sad, or you feel angry or resentful, then it's not worth it. So what you would then do, once you've identified how you feel, you then have to come up with a plan. And that plan might be how you're going to communicate in a very boundaried way, but also in a sensitive way to that person, what you can do. rather than what you can't. So a good example would be if someone is asking for £100 every month, regardless of what your situation is, which I do know lots of people who are like that. I need £100 from you every month. They don't care what your situation is. You have to say to yourself, well, first of all, can I afford that? Well, no, I'm only working as a cleaner and I'm only getting this amount. Then the second thing is, okay, if I do find ways to get that £100, how am I going to feel? Well, I'm going to be devastated because it's just, I'm just going to be angry. So then what you would do is you would compromise. So in your mind, you might say, what I can give is 50.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have that conversation. And then you'd be clear in the conversation whilst recognizing maybe that person won't accept it, but that doesn't matter. That's not important. It's what you can do, because that will release your stress, because you're not then having to think, I've got to find this £100 every month for someone. Yeah, that's what's causing the stress, really.
Wow. I think that was really, really powerful.
It's hard to do that. It's hard. There's guilt.
Really
A lot
hard
of guilt.
to do, but I just like how you've broken it down. You know, you've just made it look so simple. You know, that thought process that if I can push myself to do it, but am I going to be happy afterwards? Am I going to be in a good place? It's almost like you're not solving anything. You've provided that, but you're probably lacking. You're not happy you've done it. You probably don't like that person very much. So what have you done?
Creating
You've not
more
really
problems
solved,
from it.
you've not really solved anything. And I think
it's
that's
a temporary fix, because if we do something, whatever we do for someone else, if we do it but our hearts, there's a thing that said, if our it was from a book and I can't remember what book, so I'm not going to try, but it said that if we don't do something with our heart and soul, then there's no point in doing it, because it's that thing of temporarily we'll feel good. You'll be like, yeah, I've given my mum a lift here, or I've paid for this person's bill, or I've paid for the meal, or whatever it is. We feel good. It's like, yeah. Afterwards, it's like, why did I do that? Or why are they taking advantage? Or why do they keep asking me? It's pointless, because then they're not winning, because you've got the resentment towards them. You're not winning because you don't feel good. So don't do something where you know that there's going to be a knock-on effect. Find a compromise. There's always a compromise. Normally there is.
Fantastic. Just as we close off, I'm getting loads and loads of questions to ask you, but I'm conscious of our time. Would you like to share your details with people of how they can get hold of you if they've got anything they might want to discuss?
Yeah, sure. So you can find me on Facebook. So I have a Facebook page, which is called Marian Hanson Counselling Service. There's all my details are on there. I've also got a YouTube channel, which is Marian Hanson Counselling Service. Now, the good thing about YouTube channels, I know that Lisa's got hers as well, which I watch Lisa's channels. And even though I'm not in the situation of some of the people that come on there, it's so fascinating, it's so interesting and valuable. The thing about YouTube is that you can find whatever you want and, get information for free. So you can go on there, Marian Hanson Counselling Service. There's over 700 videos that I've been doing, all on counselling related topics. So even if you can't afford to go and see a counsellor, you can still find some answers, some solutions for free. And I love doing that as well. You can find me on TikTok. I've only just joined TikTok. You can find me on there as Marian H Counsellor. I've got my personal page, but I'll just tell you my business one. You don't want to see me dancing and prancing around on my personal one. And then I'm on Instagram as Marian Hanson Counsellor and Coach Marian Hanson. And I think that's it. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And you can send me messages on either of those platforms and I'll respond. So that's the main way. Oh, and the counselling directory. I'm on the counselling directory where I advertise, and you'll see my profile on there. So it's called the Counselling Directory. There's over 17,000 counsellors in the UK advertise on there. But my profile's on there, so you can find me on there. And BetterHelp. I work as a counsellor on BetterHelp, so you can find me on there as well.
Fantastic. I shall put all your contacts, there's a big list, on the YouTube channel. I'm sure either way, if someone's on TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, they will be able to get hold of you. personally, I've, brought you on the channel because I watch your videos and I've
Thank,
benefited loads and loads and loads.
oh,
Really
thank you.
enjoy how you break things down and just make it so simple. Hopefully we can do more videos. So
Oh yeah, live
my
streams. Yeah, I'd love to do some live streams next year because yeah, on Facebook as well and stuff. Because yeah, I love your work as well. Yeah, it's really good. So
Oh,
brilliant.
thank you so much for joining me, and I
No
hope to speak
problem.
to you soon, and hopefully we'll do more videos together.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Lisa.
All right
Okay.
then, take care. Cheers.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching.